everybody, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Full Circle Aesthetics, where holistic living and practicality meet somewhere in the middle. We are again here with Adam Smith, licensed home inspector here in Philadelphia. Last time Adam was on the show, we were talking about apartments. Today, we're talking about homes. This is Full Circle Aesthetics, where practical and holistic health meet somewhere in the middle. We promote health and well-being by sharing various ways to uplift, energize, and live. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey of returning full circle. Adam, you were gracious enough to meet with us and talk about some of the important things to look for when you were renting. Now we're talking about buying some houses.
That is right. And just like with the apartment idea, there are multiple points in a home that should be discussed, should be thought about, should be considered. That said, red flags as a rule are really subjective, okay? What might scare you away may not scare the other person away, okay?
Fair enough.
What might be significant may be paid for by the seller, thus won't be a problem for you, okay? There are all kinds of variables that could change the factors, right? If you love the home and there's a significant issue that you can't afford and the seller can't afford, you still may not care. You just never know. So, that said, there are definitely some things to pay attention to and to think about first. This point of consideration that we're going to look at here is just above these two windows here, okay? You see those cracks? That's called step cracking, okay? That's indicative to older homes built with masonry. Okay. This home specifically is 112 years old. It's taken 112 years of slow shifting the foundation and slow shifting of the wall to create that little step crack there, okay?
It's not too bad.
No, it's not bad at all, right? They're built pretty well.
Absolutely.
I like it. So this is certainly something to keep in mind, all right? This is not terrible. This, like I said, the home's 112 years. It's not going anywhere. Step cracking is essentially normal for homes this old. Okay, that said, we do need a little bit of repair work. As a home inspector, if I saw this right there, I'd suggest you have a mason come out and what's called point it or replace the mortar between those cracks.
Okay.
If it was significantly worse, I would say, hey, let's have a mason come out here, give an evaluation. The mason's evaluation would also include an estimate for full-scale repairs. All right, Tiff. The next point that we want to think about are these structural floor joists here. Now, in these older South Philly row homes that we're in right now, okay, we're thinking that the majority of load and structure is reliant on our party walls, okay? Now, that's the wall between your home and the neighbor.
Okay.
All right, these joists are sent from party wall to party wall, and they're sitting in little pockets in the party walls, right? So we have our joists, we have our floor on top of the joist, and we have you walking on top of that floor, right? So our joists ultimately are holding the load in the home. Pretty exciting, right?
Between the party.
In between the party. So what we want to do is, and this is something that everybody can do when they're looking at their house, okay? You can walk down the basement assuming you have the availability and ability to look at these. You want to make sure of their integrity, okay? So at the moment, these guys right here, we don't see any significant cracking, but we do see maybe a little tiny hairline crack there. I'm not concerned about it, all right?
What about like this one here? This crack here. Is that a big deal?
Oh, thank you so much. That's fantastic. Okay. Now, if we look over here, we see a much more significant crack, all right? And this is pretty indicative of an older wood. In this case, it's about 112 years old, just like the home, all right? It's all built at the same time. As a home inspector, I would walk through, okay? You, having already seen this with your great eyes, would have pointed this out. I would have gone right to it, and I would have noted this in your home inspection report, very clearly stating that this should be evaluated by a contractor. Okay? Contractor would come in and give you a price point estimate. All right? In which case you would then go to the negotiation table, and given that you know how much it costs to repair, you would negotiate down for that. Plumbing, as we can imagine, is one of the more important components of any home. Okay? A subcomponent of plumbing is the domestic water. All right? What we're looking at right here is the point in which your cold water is piped in from the city ordinance. Right here we have this lovely copper pipe coming in, and very, very importantly, we have our shutoff valve. If I turn this to the right, all right, it's going to stop the flow of water coming to the home. That is extremely important. If something went wrong, if you had a significant leakage anywhere, second floor of the home, you can always run all the way downstairs and throw this lever and stop all incoming water. If you were to walk into a home that you're thinking about buying, you look at this, you do not see a shutoff valve, that would be a significant red flag. And that would certainly be something that you would want to hire a plumber to come in and install. We talked about plumbing coming into the home. Now we're going to be talking about plumbing leaving the home. Every time the homeowners in this house land up flushing the toilet or using the sink, all that output comes through this waste line. If possible, when you go to buy a home, you want to be able to see as much of this waste line as possible and confirm that there's no cracks or damage. All right, we're going to be talking about electricity right now. Electricity is obviously a dangerous point of concern, okay? So you want to be very careful moving forward and thinking about what I'm about to tell you, okay? So I'm not going to be doing anything overly dangerous right now. I'm going to be looking at the electric panel. What we can see right off the bat is our wiring up top. It's a mess. It looks like a spaghetti factory. And there isn't anything specifically wrong with that other than it may be indicative of poor upkeep of the general maintenance of the home and infrastructure of the home, all right? As I open the panel, and again, I'm going to do this very carefully, all right? Inside, not everything's labeled. It's really important to have a well-labeled home in case something upstairs goes a little bit bluey. You want to come down here as soon as possible and know exactly what you're shutting off, okay? All these things put together, right now, I'm thinking that the general upkeep of this home may not be straightforward and it may be a little bit cattywampus. That's something that you need to take into account when you think about purchasing this home.
So Adam, we have a lot of concerns about mold, black mold in particular. Anything you can share with us to shed any light on that topic?
Sure.
Okay.
Mold in general needs a few things to live well, okay? You need moisture, you need a warm place, okay? And you need organic material. Now, for example, Philadelphia, generally speaking, is at or below water level, all right? So you're gonna see a lot of moisture entry into foundation walls and basements, okay? Which means that you're gonna have a little bit of mold and mildew. That doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be scary black mold.
Okay.
It just means that there's gonna be moisture, it might be a warm spot, okay? May not be organic material enough for it to grow and propagate like to scary levels per se.
Sure.
Now that said, either way, if you're going through a home, you want to start in the basement, okay? Because we know, especially here in Philly, basements can be wet, all right?
Sure.
And then, other than that, we want to think about anywhere else where there's moisture. Unfortunately, anywhere where there's moisture,
There's
plumbing,
potential.
that's exactly right. So if you have, let's say, leaking plumbing anywhere in the home, you could have potential for mold buildup. Either way, what is a viable option, anytime you're going to move forward with purchasing a home, hire a third-party mold specialist. And what they're going to do is they're going to do an air test, make sure there's not any spores floating around the home.
Yeah,
and
that's
also
very
do a spot check, okay? Now, as a home inspector, I'm going to look for any wet spots. I'm going to use a moisture meter and confirm that those spots are wet or dry, okay? That said, they're going to take it to the next level, all right? And they're going to ideally get a real good sense if there's any potential points for mold growth.
Thank you yet again for tuning in to another episode of Full Circle Aesthetics. Adam Smith, Home Inspector, thank you once again for hanging out with us. If you're looking to find Adam, his contact information is below. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.